When, in fact, did you start?
20 years ago. I started with a song called Bebopalula. I started with three fellas in the South, which names were Carl Perkins, Elvis Presley, and myself. Now, Carl Perkins was booked to do the Ed Sullivan Show because they'd heard about this music and they didn't know too much about it. Unfortunately, Carl had an accident which killed his brother and broke his back. So they said, well, let's get this guy called Gene Vincent. But I was in the hospital with a broken leg, so they got Elvis Presley. Elvis is a fine singer and a good man, and I cannot say nothing against him. He is the one to me that is one of the biggest, what you might call rock and roll of them all.
Now, you claim with these two other people to have started rock and roll.
Yes.
Is that right?
No, what we started was a thing called rockabilly. You call it rock and roll. That's a different, it changed over the years.
Okay, what is your definition of rock and roll then, and who started it?
My definition of rock and roll is rather a soul type, singing from the heart. We can put this across. We have the ability, and we know when people want it and when they don't.
You say soul music. You're saying that the original rock and roll was black and rockabilly was white.
No, rockabilly come from hillbilly music. Really.
They're white folks.
Oh, you're going to bring color in? Oh, I didn't know we were bringing color in.
Well, you said rock and roll is
no,
sort of soul music. Now, this is black, isn't it, originally?
Yes, but Americans, white people have souls, too. You got a soul, ain't you?
Okay.
Well,
you still haven't answered my question, then. Who started rock and roll and when?
Well, I'm telling you, we started what you call rock and roll. We call rockabilly then. And what you're singing today is that we started, us three people. Now, rock and roll can be termed in many different ways. Probably you have your own term of it. But what you call, or what the, let me say, what the papers and what the pop people today call rock and roll, we started.
Well, to me, rock and roll is people like Joe Lee Lewis and Carl Perkins and Gene Vincent and Chuck Berry and Little Richard. But I wouldn't have included you in the original three, because for a start, the other two came from this small label in Memphis, Sam Phillips's Sun label. And they were into it before you were with Capitol. Is that right?
No. Because Sun wasn't started then. Capitol was.
Capitol had been running a long while, but it wasn't into rock and roll.
Right, that's true.
But would you agree with me that rock and roll started with Sam Phillips's Sun label? He was recording...
No, not really. No. Can't say that. Sorry. I know Sam well, and Sam picked up on something that was already happening. It was already into it when Sam picked it up. But Elvis's first song was what a lot of people don't even know his first song. That's the way Sam picked him up, and I know how
I think it was Kentucky Moon, wasn't it?
No, Blue Moon of Kentucky.
Blue Moon of Kentucky.
Right.
Well, what was his first song?
Now, will you stand corrected, sir? Will you stand corrected?
You're trying to beat me under this table, aren't you?
That's it.
His first hits were with old blues songs by
No,
people...
sir. No, sir. His first hit was played on the radio, called Blue Moon of Kentucky. So many people called in and said, gee, you know, what a great new sound, that Sam picked up on it. But a lot of people were doing it before that, especially Carl Perkins. We played Memphis, and a lot of people think that Blue Suede Shoes was put up by Elvis Presley. It wasn't. Carl Perkins done it. And we were playing Memphis one night, me, Carl Perkins, and Elvis. And Carl came out and done Blue Suede Shoes. And Elvis came out after him and said, well, and started doing Blue Moon of Kentucky. And they started cheering for Carl Perkins. Elvis came backstage, put his foot on his guitar, smashed it, and said, "I shall never play with another rock and roller again." And from that day to this, he hasn't.
You're putting him down for this, aren't you?
No, I'm not. No. When the man says something, he means it. He's a good man. I like him. He's a friend of mine. Know his wife.
Then why would he have done this?
Maybe he's just annoyed, I guess. But when you're supposed to be one of the biggest singers around, and they cheer for somebody else, you tend to get annoyed.
Now, I remember you 10 years ago playing with Jerry Lee Lewis at the Fairfields Hall. This was, I think you were going to come back the next year, but the people who run the Fairfield Hall decided not to have any more rock and rollers because of
I think it was Golders Green, wasn't it?
No, it was definitely Fairfields Hall in Croydon. And way down the bill was a fellow called Mickey Most, playing the guitar on his back, who'd just come back from South Africa. And today, I'm told, is a millionaire producing records for all sorts of people.
Actually, Mr. Most is my brother-in-law.
Is he?
Right.
I'm pleased to know it. And a young gentleman with blonde peroxide hair called Heinz. Do you remember Heinz?
Right.
What happened? He was booed off the stage. He was terrible.
You say he was terrible. Now listen, anybody who pays to see somebody and who gets up on stage and who's even on the bill in the first place is not terrible. And I stand to say to you that that's not true.
You mean that no performance can be bad? Surely that can't be true.
Well, to you it might be bad, to me it might be good.
Well, I'm just saying the majority of the people there that
Yes, but who are
night,
you to judge anybody's music? Who do you think you are?
I have paid to get in.
Right, and you can also get your money on the way out.
No, once I'm in, I'm going to stay there for the duration of the performance, and if I think a man is bad, I think I'm entitled to hiss or boo if I want to, or clap if I think he's good.
But who is bad? Who are you to say what's bad or is good? You just tried to bring color in. You tried to hit me with about 9 different things, and I got you every way. You are no judge of music. You don't read it, you don't talk it, or you don't live it. I do. Now, politically, business-wise, husband-wise, I might be a no-good son of a gun. But there's one thing I can do. I know my music. Can't mess me up on it, baby. Try it.
Now, you know I'm not trying it. I started off by criticizing somebody else called Heinz.
Right, but you don't criticize
and you
no
defend
musician.
him.
Right.
Why, how do you know I'm not a musician myself?
If you were, you wouldn't say that.
As it happens, I am. You want me to play the piano? It's on the left-hand side.
Well, you can play the piano, but can you play it well?
Well, I don't know. I mean, who is to judge? According to you, nobody can judge a musician.
No, you just said it. I didn't say it. To me, you might be the worst piano player in the whole world. But to you might be very good. Or to somebody else, you might be very good.
Yeah, but if I then inflict myself on a paying audience, I must accept that if the audience does not like me, that is that.
Look, all I do is I am paid to do a show. People pay to come and see me. If they don't want to come and see me, they don't have to pay, right?